As the movie starts, we see a large mansion on a vast estate, and a scared woman runs down the stairs of the house and out the door as if someone was chasing her. She quickly goes to her car and drives away, while a child watches her from one of the windows of the house. When the woman reaches the gate of the land, she finds it closed, and this makes her get out of the car to open it, and after struggling for a while, she finally manages to open it and quickly goes back inside the car. A hand slams the door, and the reflection on the car window shows a man getting close to her neck. In a different part of town, Kate, a private tour, packs her suitcase to move in with the family that she got a job with, and as she packs, a roommate asks her about her class, but Kate tells her that it was a school that she worked for that put her up for the job. The next morning, Kate visits her mom Darla, who lives in a mental institution, before she has to leave for her new job. When Kate tells her mom about the little girl that she was going to take care of, Darla comments that it would be a big responsibility, which really annoys Kate, reminding her of her childhood. Her mother gives her the portrait that she was working on and tells her that it would keep her warm in the new place. And after leaving her mom, Kate makes the long drive to the large gated estate, and when she gets there, she's amazed by how big the mansion is, and Kate knocks at the front door for a while, and when she doesn't get a response, she decides to look around the house, hoping to find someone. After searching for a bit, she reaches the garden where an old lady was trimming her plants, and Mrs. Gross, the family's oldest maid who took care of the children after their parents died, greets Kate, assuming that she was the children's new tutor. The old lady tells Kate that she and Flora were the only ones living there besides the cleaners, and also the gardener who pops by once in a while. In the kitchen, while Mrs. Gross makes her special soup, Kate asks the elderly woman how Flora's parents died, and Mrs. Gross explains that they died right outside the gate in a tragic accident, and Flora had seen the whole thing. Kate finds the old lady off-putting, and feeling like she's exhausted her time with Mrs. Gross, she decides to meet Flora. And being told that she was at the stables, Kate heads down there and meets Flora after being startled by one of the large horses. The very excitable child tells Kate that Samson, the black horse that scared Kate, was grumpy all the time and only lets her brother ride him. Flora doesn't seem like the sad and depressed child Kate had expected, and keeps showing her that by telling her random facts and being her charming self. Flora takes her new governess around the state through the complicated maze, telling her that she would need to know her way around or she could get lost. When they return to the house, Kate asks the girl what grade she was in and finds out that she was in the second. Flora explains that her old governess, Mrs. Jessel, had told her that she could skip a grade if she wanted to because she was an exceptional student. The child then takes Kate to a large room and explains that it was hers, and joining that room was a sewing room where her old governess, Mrs. Jessel, used to make all of Flora's clothes. And later, Kate goes into Flora's room to say goodnight and finds the child staring out her window. Flora asks her not to leave her after explaining that her old governess left without saying goodbye, and Kate promises the child that she would never abandon her, and the two share a moment as she tucks her in bed, but while she tries to close her window, Kate is startled by a sudden flash of a woman in pain, and believing that she must have imagined it, Kate just leaves the room. A few hours later, Kate is awakened by sounds outside her room, and although she feels scared, she decides to investigate. After walking up the hallway, she realizes the sound was coming from the east wing and heads there, and a large continuous banging sound reverberates throughout the wing, which makes Kate curious as to where it was coming from. In one of the rooms, she sees an open window, its shutters banging against the wall from the force of the wind, and realizes that it was the sound that she was hearing. She closes the window to stop the noise, but suddenly she hears some sound coming from the adjoining room. Cautious, she slowly opens the door and is startled when she sees a teenage boy standing there. When she asks who he was, he tells her that his name was Miles and that he lived there, and curious about what he was doing in the middle of the night since he was supposed to be in boarding school, and so she asks him, but he only tells her that she shouldn't be on this part of the house and leaves. The next morning, while Kate was preparing Flora's lesson plan, she finds Mrs. Jessel's journal where she documented Flora's progress. Flipping through it, Kate is impressed by the child's remarkable grade, and hearing noises coming from the other room, she heads there and finds the whole family having breakfast. Kate officially meets Miles, who apologizes for startling her the night before, and suddenly the phone rings and Kate answers it, and finds out that it was from the headmaster of Miles' school. As she speaks to the man, Kate becomes worried by the information that she received, and when she gets back to the table, Miles asks her what the man wanted, but instead of saying what happened, she lies and tells him that the headmaster only gave her a list of homeworks for Miles to do while he was at home. Kate starts her class with Flora, but is annoyed by Miles as he continuously throws a ball against the wall, and unable to take it anymore, she yells at him to stop, and he does so angrily. After lessons are over, Kate wanders around the house and suddenly sees a silhouette of a man going into Miles' room, and startled, she goes into his room and finds him alone playing his guitar. Miles is very upset that she just barged in and answers her rudely, and feeling that she might have created some tension earlier, Kate tells Miles that they might have gotten off on the wrong foot, but Miles condescendingly tells her that he accepts her apology and heads to the bathroom. Upset with his rudeness, Kate returns to her room and calls her roommate Rose and updates her on her situation, explaining all the strange things that she's noticed around the house and how she felt about Miles. And suddenly, Kate hears a child scream from outside and runs out, and she thinks Flora has accidentally fallen in the pool and jumps in to save the child, but when she reaches the body, she realizes that it wasn't the child but an older woman, and frightened, Kate swims out of the water. On the edge of the pool, she sees the kids laughing after playing a prank on her by throwing a mannequin in the water, and angry, Kate yells at the kids to go inside the house. After calming herself down and taking a bath, Kate goes back to sleep but is startled awake again by Miles, who's entered her room without knocking. Sitting beside her, he apologizes for making a bad impression, and Kate was starting to feel like they were starting to make progress when he suddenly tries to kiss her. Shocked, Kate turns her face away and tells him to go to bed, and on his way out, Miles asks her if he could still give her riding lessons the next day, and she agrees. And when the next day arrived, Kate notices more violent acts from Miles as he whips the horse aggressively that she rides, telling her that that was how Quint, their riding instructor, had taught him. When they complete Kate's lesson, the group heads down to the koi pod where Kate witnesses Miles stomp and kill a fish that had been picked out by a crow, making her more cautious of Miles. For the next few days, Kate continues to have violent dreams about Miles murdering her, and one morning, as Mrs. Gross was cleaning up and the kids were playing, Kate suggests that they go into town. While Miles enthusiastically agrees, Kate says that she doesn't want to go out. Miles convinces his sister by telling her that he would ask his special friend to keep them safe, and Kate appreciates him for what he did. Once she gets the kids in the car, Kate starts the car, but just as they were about to reach the gate, Flora starts throwing a fit, screaming that she wants to go out. Kate continues to drive, trying to keep the child quiet, but immediately hits the brake when Miles threatens to kill her if she doesn't stop. Flora gets out of the car sobbing and runs back to the house, followed by her brother. Kate then finds the children in the stables and tries to speak with the young girl, but Flora refuses to talk to her. When she attempts to get closer, Miles rudely tells her that she wasn't family and that she has no right to do what she did. Feeling disrespected, Kate tells them that she's decided to leave, but remembers the promise that she made Flora and returns, and Kate finds the child in the koi pond and apologizes, making amends, and when she tries to do the same with Miles, he chases her away by playing the drums loudly. Kate suspects that there was more going on in the house than what meets the eye, and she heads to Mrs. Gross and asks her why Miss Jessel left. The old lady tells her that it was because of Quint, who made her uncomfortable, and Mrs. Gross tells her that Quint was a brute who walked around the mansion like he owned the place, and even moved into the master suite. And she tells her that Quint died after falling from his horse while drunk. Deciding to find answers on her own, Kate goes through Jessel's journals and finds out that Quint was obsessed with her. She writes about how unsafe she felt and how she had to escape before he did something to her. The next morning, the kids convince Kate to play flash tag with them in the dark, and during the game, Kate comes across the ghost of Miss Jessel and Quint and falls, hitting her head. Assuming that it was another prank, she starts yelling at Miles, but Mrs. Gross tells her that the kids have been there for the past 15 minutes. Kate keeps seeing the faces of the ghosts in the mirror as the children laugh at her paranoia. After running into the room and closing the door, Kate feels safe until ghostly hands start grabbing her, and she flails around trying to get away from it, but it kept reaching toward her, and suddenly, Flora comes into her room and tells her that she was going to sleep with her, giving her some peace of mind as she cuddles the child. The next morning, Mrs. Gross gives her a package and tells her that it came through the mail for her, and Kate realizes that it was a painting sent by her mom, and before she leaves the kitchen, Mrs. Gross comments that she hopes that whatever Kate's mom has is not genetic. Later, Kate gets a call from her mom, and Kate tells her that she might have started to see things as well, and before much could be said, the call is disconnected, and Kate gets up from where she was sitting and stands by the window, where she sees what she could only assume was Jessel's figure out by the pond. Kate follows the ghostly figure into the woods until she accidentally falls into a creek, where she finds Mrs. Jessel's body. And frightened by what she saw, she hurries back to the house looking for the children, and in one of the rooms, Kate gets a vision of the night Quint raped and killed Miss Jessel. After what she witnessed, Quint's ghost grabs her and tries to do the same, but is interrupted when Mrs. Gross barges in. Kate tells the old woman that Quint was the one who killed Jessel, but realizes from Mrs. Gross's lack of surprise that she already knew. and the elderly woman confesses that she made sure that Quint died for what he did. Kate tells the woman that they needed to get the children out of the house because they're not safe there, but Mrs. Gross tells her to stay away from them, and suddenly, Quint's ghost comes out of nowhere and pushes Mrs. Gross from the stairs to her death. Shocked, Kate rushes to take the kids and finds Miles in his room, unable to move, and Kate asks him to be brave, and after a few minutes of hesitation, he takes her hand. The two then grab his younger sister and hurry toward the car, and she heads down to the road and out of the gate. The scene changes, and we're taken back to when Kate receives the paintings from her mother while sitting in the kitchen, and the events that followed have only been her vision. Kate then goes to one of the rooms where the children are playing and paranoidly asks them if they had seen the ghosts in the house, and Miles comments on how broken that she's become before taking his sister and leaving. The scene then changes yet again, and we see Kate through her eyes, sitting on a bed. And just before the movie comes to an end, she gets up and walks in front of the mirror, seeing her reflection turn into her mother's. And that is how the movie comes to an end. If you want to watch more creepy horror movie recaps, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment. We'll see you next time. Bye.